Christmas Eve, 1945. Festive lights twinkled, carols filled the air. The Sodder family home ablaze became a beacon of tragedy. 5 children, gone, vanished. George Sodder, a hard-working Italian immigrant, and his wife, Jennie, had built a good life in Fayetteville. Their large family, 5 boys and 4 girls, were their pride and joy. This Christmas Eve, the children were especially excited. The youngest, 2-year-old Sylvia, was showered with attention from her older siblings. Marion, 17, and her sisters, 16-year-old Martha and 14-year-old Jennie Jr., helped their mother with last-minute preparations. The boys played games, their laughter echoing through the house. Gifts lay scattered beneath the Christmas tree. The aroma of baking cookies wafted from the kitchen. The phone call, a wrong number, momentarily interrupted the festive cheer. As the children finally drifted off to sleep, a sense of peace settled over the house. The fire spread rapidly, fueled by the wooden structure of the house. Screaming, George and Jennie herded the 4 youngest children outside. They huddled together, shivering in the cold December air, watching their home disappear behind a wall of flames. George frantically searched for a ladder, hoping to rescue the 5 children trapped upstairs. It was gone. His truck, usually parked in the garage, wouldn't start. Every attempt to reach his children was met with failure. Despair threatened to consume him. The fire department, headquartered just across the street, was inexplicably delayed. By the time they arrived, the house had collapsed, reduced to a smoldering ruin. The intense heat kept everyone at bay. The fate of the 5 children remained unknown. As dawn broke, the true horror of the night settled in. The fire had burned quickly, too quickly for the children to have perished inside. Where were they? Had they somehow escaped? George Sodder refused to believe his children were dead. He sifted through the ashes with his bare hands, desperately searching for any sign of their remains. He found none. Driven by grief and a father's unwavering love, George embarked on a relentless quest for answers. He contacted the FBI, pleading for their help. He hired private investigators, chasing down every lead, every rumor, every whisper. The more he investigated, the more convinced he became that something was terribly wrong. The missing ladder, the truck that wouldn't start, the delayed fire response, it all felt too coincidental, too deliberate. He began to suspect foul play. He offered a reward, hoping to entice someone, anyone, with information to come forward. The official investigation into the Sodder children's disappearance was riddled with inconsistencies and unanswered questions. Witnesses reported seeing the children in the days following the fire, some claiming they were whisked away in a car. The phone call, later traced to a Charleston bus station, became a source of intrigue. Who was the woman calling? And why? Was she connected to the children's disappearance? The identity of the caller remained a mystery. Rumors swirled. Some whispered about the involvement of the Italian mafia, seeking revenge against George for his outspoken views. Others pointed fingers at disgruntled neighbors or even family members. One theory suggested the children were taken to Italy, their heritage used to hide them in plain sight. Another claimed they were victims of a child trafficking ring, their identities erased, and their past buried. For the Sodders, clinging to hope was all they had left. The disappearance of their children cast a long shadow over the Sodder family. Christmas, once a time of joy and celebration, became a painful reminder of their loss. The empty chairs at the dinner table, the silent bedrooms, the missing laughter, constant reminders of the 5 stolen lives. Jennie, haunted by guilt and the unanswered questions, retreated into herself. She dressed in mourning black for the rest of her life, a symbol of her unending grief. George, however, refused to give up hope. He continued to investigate, to chase down leads, to keep his children's memory alive. He spent every spare moment and every penny he had on the search for his children. The Sodder case became a national sensation. Newspapers and magazines published articles, speculating on the children's fate. Television shows featured their story, hoping to uncover new leads. But despite the media attention and the tireless efforts of the Sodders, the mystery remained unsolved. In 1968, a glimmer of hope emerged. The Sodders received a photograph in the mail. It showed a young man bearing a striking resemblance to their son Louis.